Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Mark Prater podcast, where our aim is to connect our global family of Sovereign Grace churches to our executive director. As guys know, Mark, or many of us know, one of the key roles that you play in Sovereign Grace, you and the leadership team, is planning our pastors conference. And it was not long after last November's pastors conference that you met and began planning. So this has been in the works for a few months already as we look forward to this upcoming conference later this year. But this sort of begs a question: why do we have a pastors conference?
It's a great question. We've been doing them as long as I can remember, as long as I've been a pastor, and certainly in Sovereign Grace. So it's a part of our history, obviously, but I've only been leading them for 10 years, and I think they are very strategic and an important part of the rhythm of our life in Sovereign Grace, if you can say it that way. Meaning that once a year we all gather together as pastors and wives, and we do that to first of all to worship the risen Christ together. And to do that with other pastors and wives is such a joy, as you well know, Ben. And then we gather together to be equipped through the preaching of the word and through the teaching of the word and breakout sessions. And then we gather together to continue to foster the value of building relationally. And as our pastors and wives know who've attended those, it really is a family reunion in that regard.
Right.
Of just seeing people you haven't seen for a year, and you get to see them again and spend time with them. And it's a great way for guests or new people to experience that relational value that we share in Sovereign Grace. And then I think the other thing is that it's a unique time when we can leave a conference and say we are on mission together. And we know we're on mission together because of the updates that we plan during conferences that can be given, and because we simply try to dedicate some of the preaching towards our gospel mission. And it leaves you with the reality that we don't do gospel mission and ministry alone. We do it together as a family.
Yes.
And I think they're so important for those reasons. The guys that have been attending them for years, that they're like, yep, that's exactly right when they hear this podcast. But there are other brothers and sisters throughout the world that are a part of Sovereign Grace now as we expand globally, who can't make it to the pastors conference in the States, and we want them to have that experience. And so that's beginning to happen. We dedicated a podcast a few weeks ago, or about a month or so ago, for the first Sovereign Grace Pastors and Wives Conference in the Asia Pacific part of the world. In August, we have the first Sovereign Grace West Africa Pastors and Wives Conference that will happen. In June, there's going to be a gathering of Sovereign Grace European pastors. It won't be a conference, but a meeting to plan the future. I think it'll have a little bit of that feel. That'll be in June in Warsaw, Poland. So and then the Thielis Conference in August that Carlos Contreras leads. For Mexico and much of Latin America. Those are all conferences outside of the States that are happening and will continue to need to happen, so that as we build Sovereign Grace, what we experience at our conference here in the States can also be experienced throughout the world. And the hope is that it strengthens us as a family of churches and in our mission together.
Wonderful. It is the best time each year when we gather together. We've already invited, along with the guys from our pastoral team that are coming, we've already invited two couples. We plan on inviting more. Can't wait for them to experience the joy that we share when we gather at the pastors conference. You have an update for us. Actually, you have a couple of updates, including telling us about where you've landed on the schedule and the Council of Elders meeting.
Yeah, we're planning November. Let me start with the Council of Elders meeting. We are going to have it on Monday. I think it's November 10th. I should have looked at my calendar before I record the podcast, but that Monday, we are going to have it on that Monday. It will have to be in a different location. It'll be at the Crown Plaza, which is a 5-minute walk from the Wyndham where we've met the last several years. We need to meet there because Home Base, many people remember Home Base, they'll be
Our
doing their
friends.
concert, their party. They'll be there through Sunday, checking out Monday morning. So the hotel can't turn over obviously the hotel and be ready for us that quickly. So we will do the Council of Elders meeting at the Crown Plaza. You'll be getting more information about that. If you come in on Sunday, you'll need to stay Sunday night and then Monday night there as well. And then those that don't come to the Council of Elders meeting can just check in at the Wyndham on Tuesday. And the conference, like we've done the last several years, starts Tuesday night and goes through Thursday afternoon. So that's a little bit about the schedule. In terms of a theme, we've landed on the theme, which I really love, which is the triumphant church of Jesus Christ and the Word
Mm.
of God. And we chose that theme because right now I think pastors are facing a number of pressures and challenges, and we want to respond to those pressures and challenges by rooting us in the Word of God and remembering that that the church of Jesus Christ will triumph. The gates of
Yes.
hell will not prevail against us. So if we've got the Word and we've got the promise of Jesus' church, the New Testament church that will continue, that can strengthen us as a family of churches. So we've got messages that really aim at that, and really will help us. Jeff Percival is going to give a message just to talk about, for example, our theological clarity and integrity, which is very important in this day and time as guys face and feel social pressure, sometimes on social issues from the far right and the far left. And we want to be rooted not on that spectrum, but only in the Word of God. That's where we want to be rooted, and that we lead our people out of the Word of God. So that's just one of the reasons we chose that particular theme. And there'll be much more information coming soon. We're hoping to open registration in June. That's the plan right now. We've got 4 of the 5 main sessions planned and those speakers chosen. I'll hold those until maybe another podcast to reveal who those are. And then breakout sessions, we've got a long list of what we're trying to work through and determine if we have breakout sessions, which topics it will hit. So that's a little bit of a precursor and just a reminder, really more importantly, of why we do Pastors and Wives conferences. And, I can't then end this podcast without thinking about the Pastors and Wives of Sovereign Grace. And they're not only friends, they are brothers and sisters in partnership with the gospel, and they labor so hard and they serve so faithfully, like you and Kate and everybody else that listens or reads this podcast. So I want you to know, I thank God for you. And the labor for the pastors conference for me and the other guys on the leadership team, it's a labor of love. It's a labor of service. And that's because we love the Pastors and Wives of Sovereign Grace so much.
Thanks, Mark. Your care and your love is evident in the thoughtful way that you and the leadership team seek to plan to equip us and strengthen us each year at the Pastors Conference in very specific ways. So thanks for that. Thank you, leadership team. Thank you for whetting our appetite for what's coming in November. Thank you all for watching or reading. We'll see you here, Lord willing, next week.
Thank you for watching. If you have questions or comments, Mark would love to hear from you. For more videos like this, hit subscribe on YouTube or by email at markkprater.com.